Thank you for joining me on Local News Live. I'm Ryan Pierce. Deborah has the day off. President Biden is said to be considering preemptive pardons for critics of President-elect Donald Trump. And joining me now is White House correspondent John Decker to talk about it. John, how does a preemptive pardon work and who might be eligible?
We haven't seen this in literally decades. The pardon that Gerald Ford gave to Richard Nixon, that was a preemptive pardon. He was not charged with any crimes, but the idea here is that if he were to be charged with any crimes, he would have essentially blanket immunity. And the same would apply to certain individuals that Donald Trump, his administration, his DOJ, his FBI may have in the crosshairs in terms of charging them with specific crimes. Liz Cheney would be an individual who could potentially get a preemptive pardon. Anthony Fauci, who oversaw America's response to the pandemic, that's another person who could potentially get a preemptive pardon. But it's not known yet whether they would like a preemptive pardon or whether or not Joe Biden, the president, would actually grant those pardons to those individuals.
Well, speaking of President-elect Donald Trump, he recently named his pick for the IRS commissioner. What does it signal for the future of the agency that's come under political spotlight over the past couple years?
It has. His pick is former Congressman Billy Long, who represented Missouri for 6 terms in the House of Representatives. He never served on the House Ways and Means Committee, so there are those that say it's an unconventional pick in the sense that he doesn't have that as much experience in tax policy. But it could show that this administration is moving in a different direction than the Biden administration, which devoted significant resources to the IRS. Republicans actually want to cut a significant amount of money from the budget of the IRS.
Another one of President-elect Trump's picks, Pete Hegseth for defense secretary, still seems like he might face an uphill battle to earn the votes from all the Senate members that he needs. However, he is making the rounds in Congress. What's the status there?
He's making the rounds. He's meeting with Republican senators, but I don't think he's locked down the necessary support to be the next defense secretary. As you put it, Ryan, he does have an uphill battle, and we still haven't seen, nor have senators seen, that FBI background report. I think that's the other shoe to drop, essentially, for Pete Hegseth, and I personally don't believe that he will survive this. And what I think Donald Trump did with the Matt Gaetz nomination is to have a plan B before you pull the nomination, and that's what Donald Trump had with Matt Gaetz. Pam Bondi was plan B. She was named just hours after he took his name out of consideration to be the Attorney General, and I think what Donald Trump would like to have is someone as a plan B before this nomination for Pete Hegseth is taken back.
John, Republicans obviously have a lot of power in government right now. It appears maybe they're at odds. Of course, it's still early as to what issue they'll take on first or next. What does it appear like they're going to look at first?
Well, they're at odds. Republicans who control both the House and the Senate don't have the same agenda necessarily. I think they want to get the same things accomplished, but the difference is how you get those things accomplished. So senators want potentially 2 different bills to take up in the first year, one focusing on border security as well as the issue of energy policy. What Republicans in the House would like is to take up those issues, but also include in this bill tax policy, a major tax cut, or extending the tax cuts that are set to expire next year that were passed in the first year of the Trump administration. That's where they need to figure out what is our joint agenda going forward. And as you know, very narrow majorities that exist for Republicans in both the House and the Senate in the 119th Congress.
John, always appreciate you sharing so much to cover. We appreciate the information.
Thanks, Ryan.